Now traveling to Kanizaka.
With every death comes honor. With honor, redemption.
Well, that was a quick queue. I'll take it.
Traveling to Icon. Prepare your defenses.
And of course I get tank. So,
Select your hero.
if I'm playing a tank, that means I play Zarya. Because my other tanks suck. Dude, play it if you want it. Holy crap, dude.
Together, we are strong.
Oh, we got a Reinhardt. I'll take Reinhardt.
Don't let them touch the objective.
Attackers incoming. 30 seconds.
Well, why do we have his Bastion? Whatever.
It is not my preference to see to matters personally, but I will see them done.
Death. How amusing.
They have a Hanzo.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Dirt Master I cannot. So
Give me your best shot. You're covered. Get in there. Maximum charge.
I'd say that works with a nice push. Or a nice defend. I'm getting cut on geometry. Help me.
Привет.
Alright, so they don't have a hog anymore, so I don't have to watch out for the hogs. I think we probably have a... Dude, whoever's down there is that tree. I cannot help you, bud. I mean, I have a grab, which took forever to build, but if not... But my charge is fine, so I'm okay. Okay, they don't have lamp.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Run. Огонь по готовности. My will.
Did he just say worth?
30 seconds.
Огонь по готовности!
Zero deaths, baby. Oh, what a nano target.
My ultimate is off.
Score 0.
I was on a 15-player kill streak. If I only got 14 kills.
Prepare to attack.
Huh. Interesting.
Select your hero.
Well. Oh. Well, that might have an effect on things. Maybe.
Together, we are strong. I will not let the fate that befell this place happen to my country.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's not what we want. We don't want that. We want that. There we go.
Understood.
A little bit of programmer humor right there for you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Capture objective A.
And they're throwing. Yay.
Barriers on Barrier activated.
Victory. Play of the game.
Yeah, 74% energy. That's pretty good. All right, let's go again. I have 35 tickets. You know what? We can play DPS. Under 6 minutes. I'm fine with that. 6 minutes. 6 minutes is okay. Okay, so we still have that. Oh, wait. No, we want to go back. Okay. Alright, that should be good.
In contrast to the light L, when you produce the dark L, the back of your tongue bunches. So think about the words milk and pull. The lighter L was a feature of New York Latino English. But Latinx people are a very diverse group of people, and they speak a variety of varieties. We'll get to more of those later.
Thank you, Megan. And this single feature is a good contrast with other New York accents, by the way, because most other New York accents are pretty dark L's. Lots of lemon lollipops, la la, I like to lick them. So now, as we leave New York and head south into Jersey and towards Philadelphia, we cross a major dialect boundary, the on line. The north of this line, most people say on, rhymes with on. South of it, they say on, rhymes with on. Of course, this doesn't apply at all if you rhyme don and dawn, only if you have two distinct pronunciations. That's called the cot merger, but we'll talk more about that later. There are a few major dialect areas in the US, and one of the biggest dividing lines is between northern dialects and midland dialects. The on line basically runs right along this boundary, so as we cross over.
Now arriving at ease.
That's actually funny. I didn't notice that the music thing did that. Oh, we're playing DPS. I forgot about that. Yes. Okay. We can get up to Hanzo. Bara. Yeah. Hanzo's not a bad pair.
With every death comes honor.
Let's
With
shoot for a
honor,
new high score.
redemption.
All systems operational. Diva, ready for combat.
Five, four, three, two, one. Round one. Capture the objective.
That which is unseen.
Enemy contact.
Oh, Doom's one. Doom's one.
See through the flashes.
Oh, it was gone below. Okay, so I'm at 60% ult. I have nothing to combo. They have a Tracer and Doomfist. Let's play some creep in here. Counter at least one of them, hopefully. It's okay, we can regroup, we can hold.
I need a doctor.
How did I miss those last shots? And I'm dead. Because I got stuck. Wow, I already have 40% of my ult here. That's kind of sad. Nice, we lose this fight. It's okay.
I've got unfinished business. Howdy.
Back up, regroup, regroup, regroup.
Group off.
Meteor strike.
Oh, wow. Gotta say, that was nice.
The objective must be taken.
Okay, Sig. Okay.
Let's start
Maybe I
over
should.
at the
No,
beginning.
Soldier's a bad pick right now.
Everyone, on the objective.
come on, come on, come on.
I am rocking this objective.
It's time.
Wow, that's easy. Look at this.
It ain't my time.
Oops, wrong one, but
The innocent.
yeah, good run.
Score 0-1.
Just as dispense itself.
Yeah, every time I tried to counter the Doomfist, Chase just said hello. So
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
I want to go Ash, but I need this stun. Well, someone won't stop me. Come on, nobody's taking the point yet. Dang. Okay, there we go. Alright, so there's a bunch of pressure. What a sleep. Oh, huge. That was huge. Kill that Doomfist though.
Meteor strike.
Well,
Nice. We're even. We're not even. We're not even. Dang. It's 4v2. Or 4v6. Alright, she used boop already. I'm fine.
Dead eyes ready. Hold up. Happy trail. All patched up. It'll take more than that.
Overtime.
Justice reigns from above.
Defeat. Play of the game.
Okay.
Reigns from above.
placement. 6 minutes? Yeah, we're fine.
Somewhere around Trenton, we cross from the north to the Midlands, dialect-wise. Now, another thing that starts to happen as we get downwards Philly is that the goat diphthong starts to move forwards in the mouth. So we get go, hoagies. Want to go get some hoagies? Go gets maybe even a little further forward as we get down to Baltimore, especially, Danny Ocean. You want to get Danny Ocean on Wednesday? Let's make a quick stop in DC, where Nicole has some really interesting stuff on the prosody of local African-American speakers.
In my research, I studied prosody, which has to do with the tone and intonation of the phrase itself. In a study, I found that African-American speakers may be more likely to ask a yes-no question with a level tone or a falling tone. For white speakers, we expect a rising tone in questions like these. So something like, did you do the dishes? But African-American speakers may be more likely to say something like, did you do the dishes? Another feature that we see in DC, similar to New York, is the raised thought cloth vowel, ah. This is a new feature in DC, and we think it's part of a pattern of DC varieties becoming more like northern cities as opposed to the south. You can hear that in this clip.
Change is needed, but at what cost? At what cost?
Okay, let's go back to Eric.
Now we take a quick detour over to Pittsburgh. You used to be the only people in all of North America that smooths the mouth diphthong, except for maybe Chicago sometimes. And smoothing is when you take a diphthong, like ow, and smooth it out so it's just one sound, ah. Just like we have price smoothing in much of the south, so that I smooths out to just ah, price. Same thing here, except with the mouth vowel, smoothing out to a long ah sound. You just want to meet downtown, go shopping for catches? Heading back over to the Delmarva Peninsula, as we head down into Virginia, we get something different with that same mouth diphthong. Here it's going to sound like oh, mouth, house. So it's not smoothing out here, it's raising. The tongue starts a little higher up, instead of ah, so it's like oh, about, house. This feature is called tidewater raising. Something similar happens with this vowel in Canada, and there we call it Canadian raising, but it's essentially the same thing happening. Time to get out of the house, keep heading south. Down in North Carolina, we really start to hear pretty significant goat fronting again. So the vowel sound in boat, most, pote, starts with the tongue further forwards in the mouth. Oh, interestingly, goat fronting, which is now widespread in a lot of the American South, seems to have originated in North Carolina sometime in the last part of the 19th century. Remember that regional dialect boundaries don't necessarily follow political boundaries. They follow settlement patterns and contact patterns between populations. So the inland part of North Carolina, which is in the Appalachian Highlands, the original European settlers were Scotch-Irish folks and Germans moving southwest from Pennsylvania. But due to being relatively inaccessible and isolated for a long time, the accent is distinct from the lowlands and from the coastal areas. The isolated speech communities are fascinating because we can get some really interesting sound patterns. Up here, you get some really dramatic face lowering, for example. So the diphthong in face starts real low, down around ah, I, face, light, die. You'll also get some particular dialect features, so words and word order and grammar things that stretch way back to those original settlers from Scotland and Northern Ireland. Things like a hunting and a fishing, and extra sounds too, like the R sound in wash and the H sound in hit. Get on with hit. Here's Nicole again to talk a little bit about African American speech in Southern Appalachia.
Hi again. So African Americans in Appalachia are understudied, mostly because stereotypes of Appalachia are very, very white. African Americans in Appalachia may be more likely to be rhotic. So in words like floor,
why up there on the fourth floor,
you'll get the R, whereas in other places you might get flow. African Americans in Appalachia also tend to follow the more general Southern pattern with respect to I monophthongization, ah in wide turning to ah, so you get wad. And now the map tour continues with Eric.
Thank you, Nicole. We're picking up again in North Carolina. Over in the Outer Banks, there's an even more historically isolated community because of a shift in shipping patterns in the mid-19th century, and probably also because of sympathizing with the northern cause in the Civil War. Edgecote Island was relatively isolated from the mainland for a long time. It's developed maybe one of the most distinctive and different dialects in North America. Obliging islanders will sometimes say to tourists, well, it's high tide on the same side. Last night the water fire, night the moonshine, no fish. Edgecote Islanders are sometimes called high tiders because of that particularly distinctive I sound, and their accent is sometimes taken to be British or Australian, even by Brits. And truth be told, there are some similarities with some regional English accents, including that high tide vowel sound, which is similar to both southwestern English accents like Devon or Gloucestershire, and East Anglian accents like Norfolk and Suffolk, those easternmost counties of England. Curiously, another distinctive thing about the old Edgecote accent is it's also got a real sort of bounce to it, which is something that both those southwestern and those East Anglian accents also have in common. North Carolina is actually one of the most linguistically diverse states in the country. I want to bring in Kalina Newmark now to talk about Native American English.
Hello, my name is Kalina Newmark, and I'm Talitha Dene First Nations from the Northwest Territories, Canada. I come from a strong line of Dene and Métis leaders who are passionate about our language and cultural teachings. The Lumbee tribe is the largest state-recognized Native American tribe in North Carolina. Lumbee speakers combine and pronounce English words that distinguish them from African American and Southern speakers. Since encountering white settlers in the mid-1800s, the Lumbee have carved out a dialect of English that is uniquely theirs. One interesting feature is that Lumbee English speakers share vowel sounds present in the Outer Banks accent, where tide is pronounced toid. You can hear that in this native speaker clip.
Thank you, Kalina. So that Overcoat Island high tider accent is an accent that's disappearing fast. The younger Overcoaters tend to speak much more mainstream American English. There's a popular idea that we're losing regional accents, that people are sounding more and more similar. That's true of some people in some places, especially some of these isolated communities, but it's not true across the board. There are actually plenty of accent differences that are getting more and more distinct over time. But of course, it's a complex picture. There are parts of the South that don't have all that much Southern about them, accent-wise. Raleigh, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas are two good examples. A lot of people from those two cities may be pretty hard to identify by their accents, which brings us to what is sometimes called General American. What's General American? The first thing is, it's not one accent. It's basically a terrible term for a wide variety of accents that essentially don't have a lot of obvious regionally distinctive features in them. We're going to talk to Sun Michaud now. Sun is a native speaker of Gullah, a fascinating and really important Creole language spoken in the Low Countries in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida.
Gullah is a language spoken in a region of the United States called the Gullah-Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, which extends officially from Wilmington, North Carolina, down to Jacksonville, Florida. Gullah is an Atlantic Creole, most similar with Bahamian Creole English and Bayesian Creole. In fact, when I visited the Bahamas, a bunch of local thought that I'd been a local too. There are a variety of factors that inform the language. For instance, the secluded plantations on the Sea Island, a mixture of African languages, as well as the accents of lower-class English and Irish indentured servants and slavers. European slavers were so ill-suited for the Sea Island's environment that they would often afford long periods of solitary time to our ancestors with little to no oversight. Slavers would mismatch the languages in order to confound them and hinder their ability to organize rebellions. Now, the scheme of this tactic was designed for our Gullah-Geechee ancestors to be forced to speak English so that their overseers could be privy to the communications. But what slavers didn't predict is that this first generation English-based African pidgin would develop into a Creole, a fully mature rule-governed language of its own, much of which remains with us today due to generations of forced segregation and eventual separation by choice before the building of bridges that increased easy access to and fro. I'm going to walk you through a few distinct features of the Gullah Geechee accent. For example, the kick-foot vowels are reversed for the words fish and foot to sound like fush and fit. The lot trap vowels are reversed for god and pat to sound like gad and pot. The softening of the T's, where butter and bent would sound like butter and bane. Gullah speakers also drop consonants for vowels where the two words meet. For instance, in the sentences that gal there and that boy there, the word for there, adds or subtracts the D depending on if there's a consonant or a vowel preceding it. The importance of accent to the Gullah Geechee language simply cannot be overstated. It is the clearest bond between ourselves and other displaced Africans throughout colonized spaces in the Black diaspora. How we sound is as important as what we say, because our accent is a statement in itself. This has been your Gullah Teacher Son Show. Stay safe, and as always, we out ya. Peace.
Thank you so much, son. So if you're keeping count, that's 6 Southern accents already, even though we're not being remotely comprehensive here, and we've only been through a few states. Lots more to come. As we get into the...
Lots more to come.
Traveling to Hanamura. Prepare to attack.
I like Hanamura.
Select your hero.
Ah, but we're on attack, yes. Yes. Yo, I got a silver in my lobby. That is in there. Oh, that's what I was gonna pick.
With every death comes honor. With honor, with no time for games.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
The true struggle is
Yeah, I cannot get up there, I don't believe. Oh, maybe. No.
Just like in training. Visualize, then execute.
Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
By the dragon.
Enemy radar.
See through the dragon's eyes.
Lifting up.
No, I suck. Oh, nice escape. You suck.
Capturing the objective.
Oh, nice cap.
See that which is unseen. Yuga wagateki wo kurau!
Oh.
Death walks among you.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei. My ultimate is ready.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Duplicating Reinhardt.
Cool, we got a tick. I don't care. I got a tick. That's all that I needed.
Turret destroyed.
I'll finish the job.
60 seconds remaining.
Soldier 76.
Get into position.
I don't tolerate defeat. Get on the attack now.
Much better. Enemy turret ahead.
Огонь по готовности.
Enemy turret ahead.
I wonder what my problem is. Is if it's me, or if it's some of my teammates, or if it's both. I don't know.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Oh no, let me done. I think I need to drink water. Oh, he's gonna blame the DPS.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I could have used a little more time to get ready.
Imagine the worst possible outcome. Now, avoid that.
Accurate.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. You need to learn.
Turrets down.
Play of the game.
Огонь по готовности.
I got out of that because I did not want to deal with it, but there was like only a couple seconds left, so I had to teleport out of there and get out of there. Four minutes. I can deal with 4. Alrighty, time to go get a drink and I'll be right back.
piney woods belt, southern Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and northern Florida, we get into one of the parts of the South that's always been rhotic. A lot of the South was historically non-rhotic. That's where you get this sort of Blanche Dubois, Scarlett O'Hara kind of classical southern accent. You can hear that in this clip here.
I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
You hear how there's no R in strangers?
Strange, strange, strange.
That's a non-rhotic accent. But that's changed fast over the last few decades. So most younger white Southerners are now rhotic. Most of the Piney Woods belt, though, they always have been. And Nicole talked about the fact that some African-American speakers in Southern Appalachian smooth out the I diphthong, the price vowel, in some words, and we get a long I sound. But in other words, it says diphthong, I. And this is a pattern we find in a lot of the South. In most of the Piney Woods belt, though, there's always been what we can describe as full price smoothing, where some Southerners smooth the diphthong in words like fly, rise, and ride, but use diphthong in rice and right. Here in the Piney Woods belt, we're going to smooth them all. Fly, rise, ride, and rice, ride, life, night, and so on. There's an interesting posture thing here, too, which is that you start to get tongue tips that are very edge-focused. And what I mean by that is that instead of using this part of the tongue, the blade, for things like T and D sounds, so that there's a lot of surface contact, tuh, duh, we just use the narrow edge of the tongue, so it's a more focused contact area, tuh, duh. 10 tired turtles talk about dentists. We're going to end part 1 right here, but we're going to continue this all the way across the continent. We're going to go to Chicago and Southern California, and yes, absolutely, we'll get out in a boat up in Canada. See you next time.
I'm good for useless science facts. Those are pretty good usually.
So I saw Austin McConnell made a video called A Solid 20 Minutes of Useless Information, and the information really was useless, but the video was really good. So I thought, I want to make something like that, but with a little bit more sciencey goodness, and that's exactly what this video is. So after a horrible 2020 for everybody, here is a simple, chilled out way to start 2021. And a bunch of friends from the science side of YouTube decided to get involved, so make sure you watch the entire thing so you don't miss any of them. Okay, let's crack on with it. A million seconds is about 2 weeks, but a billion seconds is around 32 years. You can relight a candle with the stream of smoke that's left after you blow it out. This is because that smoke is filled with wax vapor, which is what candles use for their fuel. So the flame travels down that smoke and looks like it's jumping from the lighter to the wick.
I actually have 2 science facts. I'm giving a bonus here. The first is that of the estimated 100 million people who have lived on planet Earth, more than half, it's estimated, have died of malaria, which is crazy. And then the second is that if you had a rope that stretched around the equator of the Earth, assume the Earth is like perfectly spherical, right? And then you wanted to lift that rope off the ground by 1 foot on the entire circumference of the Earth, all around the equator. If you wanted to lift it up, the amount of extra rope you would need to add to that rope is only like 6.28 feet. It comes out to 2 pi worth of feet of rope to lift the whole thing off the ground by an entire foot. What's really bonkers is it's the same if you had a rope going around a basketball and you wanted to extend that rope off the basketball by a foot, you would also need to add 2 pi feet worth of rope. Basically, when you do the algebra, the R cancels out, so it's independent of the radius of the object that you're wrapping this rope around, which is just kind of mind-boggling.
A tomato has around 7,000 more genes than a human. Over a quarter of your bones are in your feet. My foot. Roughly 1/5 of all known mammals are bats. Your shoelaces come undone all the time because every single step you take puts them under forces of up to 7G. White sand beaches come from the poop of parrotfish that feed by biting off chunks of coral skeletons and excreting what they can't digest as that famous white sand.
My favourite science fact is that if you took all the veins and arteries and capillaries in your body, all the blood vessels, and you laid them out end to end, you would die.
Every hour, over 430 quintillion joules of energy from the sun hits Earth. The whole of
you would die.
Every hour, over 430 quintillion joules of energy from the sun hits Earth. The whole of humanity doesn't even use that much energy in an entire year, so that's a lot of sunlight hitting Earth every single hour. But apparently, like, none of it gets sent to the UK, which is why I'm filming this video inside, because it won't stop raining. The heaviest dinosaur was called Argentinosaurus, which weighed in at 60 to 100 tons, which is equivalent to about 17 African elephants.
Did you know that tiny little jumping spiders can see the moon? That's right, with those big, adorable eyes of theirs, even though their pupils are practically microscopic, because of the way that they're built, they can probably make out that big hunk of cheese in the sky. Next stop, spider astronauts, I guess.
There are more hydrogen atoms in a single teaspoon of water than there are teaspoons of water in the entire world's oceans. And if you were to line up all of the water molecules in a single teaspoon of water in a long line, it would reach around 50 billion kilometers, which is like 10 times the size of our solar system. The word Sahara comes from a word that means desert, so the Sahara Desert translates to desert desert. It's called a tautology, where 2 parts of the name mean the same thing. It usually happens when 2 languages combine, and happens a lot, like with Lake Tahoe meaning Lake Lake, and Milky Way Galaxy meaning Milky Way Milky. Some species of ants can recognize their reflections in a mirror, so they might have some level of self-awareness. If you have a room of 23 people, there is a 50% chance that 2 of them have the same birthday, and this is known as the birthday paradox.
Did you know during the Cold War, nuclear submarines were frequently forced to return to base in order to repair damage to the rubber coating on the submarine's sonar equipment? Inspection crews found small crater-shaped holes in the equipment, and initially, the US Navy feared that the Soviets had developed secret weapons to disable their sonar. However, in 1971, it was discovered that their submarines were being attacked and damaged by the cookie cutter shark, a parasitic shark that normally feeds by biting off chunks of whale blubber. You can never underestimate what nature comes up with.
You have a blind spot at the center of your vision when it's dark. Rod cells are responsible for low light vision, but they're located at the edges of your retinas. So when you're walking late at night, make sure that you look just to the side of where you're stepping. People in the southern hemisphere see the moon upside down when compared to the northern hemisphere.
One sperm contains the data equivalent of 26 3.5-inch floppy disks. I gotta go.
All of the gold that we have ever mined would fit into just over 3 standard-sized Olympic swimming pools. Polar bear hair is hollow and acts so well as a thermal insulator that polar bears are basically invisible to heat cameras. Chalk is made of the skeleton remains of microscopic plankton. When they died millions and millions of years ago, they fell to the bottom of the ocean and formed an ooze. And over time, they were crushed and squished together by sediment, and they formed chalk rock. An amazing pieces of art.
No sequence of 52 playing cards has ever appeared more than once in a properly shuffled deck of cards. We can't be 100% sure of that, but it's less likely that a deck has been repeated in the entirety of human history than it is for me to win the UK lottery 5 times in a row. Can't be 100% sure of that.
That was a nice transition.
No sequence of 52 playing cards has ever appeared more than once in a properly shuffled deck of cards. Can't be 100% sure of that, but it's less likely that a deck has been repeated in the entirety of human history than it is for me to win the UK lottery 5 times in a row.
99% of all species that have ever lived on Earth are extinct. When you get a kidney transplant, they usually just leave your original kidneys in your body and put a new kidney in your pelvis. A single litter of kittens or a single litter of puppies can have more than one father.
Fun science fact, there are over 2,000 thunderstorms on Earth every single minute. Great.
The Great Pyramids of Giza and woolly mammoths coexisted for almost 1,000
Hey.
Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
DPS again. What's with the Zarsig stuff? Oh, I placed.
With every death comes honor. With honor, redemption.
Wow, I'm silver DPS, I guess.
Quadruple check your mind.
Alright, now we have to go far to get this up. Yeah, go. One life. We get one life.
4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
I really wasted my thing. Wow.
I'm not your father. Enemy contact. People often ask me to explain. I don't know parties.
The objective is now.
This time, I will fail. But I believe that the ultimate is almost ready. Confirmed.
I like this Sigma.
I'm not your father. I don't go.
Marked by the dragon. My ultimate is ready. Pass into the iris. Denied.
Clean up your ass. I'm under fire. Rally to me.
Do not waste grab here. Good, you didn't waste grab. Oh, I've been an idiot.
Move back. Two more bets this time. Heroes never die.
Got your mother.
Best round. 1.
I mean, I'll take that. I'll take it. This creep juice is not as strong as I'm used to.
1, 0.
Una mamau, una mamau, una mamau.
Take a look at my armor sometime. It'll take some time for me to get familiar with the design, but if you don't mind, I'd love to.
Dude, I cannot focus. My eyes are stuck. It's bad right now. So bad.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
Move back.
me to explain escape velocity at parties. Reine Kerstar. Reine Kerstar.
I will not waste this opportunity.
Get over here. Wake up.
Clearing the area.
Come on over.
You made a tactical error. My ultimate is almost ready. Justice reigns from above. I am on fire.
I'm fine with that. Now back out.
My team
Oops.
needs me.
Yeah, it's just ball. Just touch. Probably could have got that one.
Thanks for the double.
Why would you waste your ult?
What is that melody?
Heroes never die. Thanks for the
I wish they could all be that easy. I'm at 2057, yeah?
Play of the game.
Mm-hmm, sure. Mercy diff, whatever. Okay. I mean, that's not terrible. Oh, no.
Arriving at Shadow Gear.
1,000 years. Sharks were on Earth before trees, around 100 million years earlier. There are about 1.4 billion insects for every single person alive today.
The moon is about 400 times smaller than the sun, but the sun is 400 times further away. The result is that from Earth, they appear to be the same size, and that's why they line up perfectly on a solar eclipse.
You could fit all of the planets in our solar system between the Earth and the Moon, with room to spare. A typical cloud of about 1 kilometer across, 1 kilometer long, and 1 kilometer tall weighs around 500,000 kilograms.
Okay, so there's just this one science fact that lives in my head rent-free. I learned it 10 years ago, and it's the fact that platypus, not platypi, because that doesn't make any sense. They're mammals, so they produce milk, but they don't have teats. Instead, they have these patches that kind of just sweat milk. And that just haunts me.
At 4,020 kilometers wide, Australia is wider than the Moon, which is just 3,476 kilometers in diameter. We consume nanoparticles of gold without realizing it thanks to it passing up the food chain, and we excrete it through our skin and hair. And babies have more gold in their hair thanks to getting more through breast milk, and it can reach levels that double the average concentration of gold in the Earth's crust. The peacock mantis shrimp uses 2 appendages like clubs to pummel its prey. They accelerate to 50 miles per hour quicker than a .22 caliber bullet does, which causes the surrounding water to briefly reach the temperature of the surface of the sun.
The last meal of Urtzi, the 5,000-year-old ice mummy, was wheat, red deer, and ferns, but we're not sure if he ate the ferns or just used them to wrap his meat.
Octopuses have 3 hearts, 9 brains, and blue blood. Their brains are split into a central brain and 8 big clumps of nerves at the base of each arm that controls movement. Wombat poop is shaped like cubes.
Fruit fly maggots, which normally just eat soft, squishy yeasts, if you force them to be cannibals, don't ask how, they will grow more teeth in response to make it easier to attack other maggots.
A speck of dust is halfway between the size of Earth and an atom, so as large as the Earth appears compared to a speck of dust, the dust is that much larger than an atom. You might know that grizzly bears eat lots of fish, but they also love eating moths called army cutworm moths. They can eat up to 40,000 of them in a single day.
In the future, we're just not going to have any tides anymore, because the moon moves away around 4 centimeters every single year. So in 50 billion years' time, it'll settle into a nice, synchronous 47-day orbit around the Earth. But by that time, the sun will already have been a red giant that's close to the Earth, so we have nothing to be concerned about.
If you have 2 legs, that means you have more legs than the average.
Wait, I missed that one.
There are more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. There are more microorganisms in a teaspoon of healthy soil than there are people on Earth. There's also more different species.
Tides anymore, because
them to be cannibals, don't ask how. They will grow more teeth in response to make it easier to attack other maggots.
A speck of dust is halfway between the size of Earth and an atom. So as large as the Earth appears compared to a speck of dust, the dust is that much larger than an atom. You might know that grizzly bears eat lots of fish, but they also love eating moths called army cutworm moths. They can eat up to 40,000 of them in a single day.
In the future, we're not going to have any tides anymore, because the moon moves away around 4 centimeters.
Tides.
In 50 billion years' time, it'll settle into a nice, synchronous 47-day orbit around the Earth. But by that time, the sun will already have been a red giant that scorched the Earth, so we have nothing to be concerned about.
If you have 2 legs, that means you have more legs than the average human. There are more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. There are more microorganisms in a teaspoon of healthy soil than there are people on Earth. There's also more different species of bacteria in that single teaspoon than there are different species of animals in the Amazon rainforest.
If you take 2 extremely clean pieces of metal and place them together in a vacuum, they can stick together and form effectively one continuous piece of metal, by a process known as cold welding.
Baby bees produce chemicals that keep their grown-up worker bee caretakers awake. Volcano lightning can happen in huge ash clouds of volcanic eruptions.
There are microorganisms called protists that eat viruses. Before 2020, we thought the viruses were too small to be eaten by anything.
Giant pandas and red pandas, which aren't closely related, have both separately
that eat viruses
that keep their grown-up worker bee caretakers awake. Volcano lightning can happen in huge ash clouds of volcanic eruptions.
There are microorganisms called protists that eat viruses. Before 2020, we thought the viruses were too small to be eaten by anything.
Giant pandas and red pandas, which aren't closely related, have both separately evolved an extra finger-like false thumb from a wrist bone, which lets them both handle bamboo with more dexterity than anyone else. And what a skill to have.
When sperm whales can't digest squid beaks, they cover them in a hard waxy substance called ambergris and then poop them out, and we humans find that whale poop and use it in perfume. It smells really nice.
In Mandarin, penguin translates to business goose. Babies have around 100 more bones than adults. You might think that the Amazon rainforest is our planet's lungs, but more than half of the oxygen you breathe comes from the oceans, mainly from microscopic ocean plankton.
Now may be the winter of our discontent, but here's something Shakespearean that's a little less grim. Approximately 200 billion of your atoms were once in Shakespeare, because the Earth's atoms have constantly been recycling over time. That value does include atoms that passed through him rather than were him per se, so if you only want to count pure shaky Peabody atoms, then the number is probably around 10,000.
There's a place in the Pacific known as Point Nemo. It's the furthest point from land in every direction, and at certain times of day, it's closer to the International Space Station than it is to any landmass.
Come here. Come on. Yeah, good boy. According to archaeological and genetic evidence, dogs and humans have been hanging out for nearly 20,000 years, right?
There are nearly 6,000 satellites orbiting Earth right now, and about 60% of them are not operational, so they're just space junk. Antlers that are found on animals like deer, elk, and moose are the fastest growing tissue in any mammal, and they can grow around 2.5 centimeters a day. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants in the world. Certain species can grow 910 millimeters each day, which is around 1 millimeter every 90 seconds, so you can actually see it growing. At 21.9 meters tall, Olympus Mons on Mars is the largest mountain in the solar system. It is so big and its slopes are so shallow that it curves with the curvature of the planet. So if you stood at the bottom of it, you wouldn't actually be able to see the top because it would be past the horizon. Reindeer have evolved ultraviolet vision. It lets them quickly see the urine of predators and also their major food source, lichens, which absorb UV light and stand out against the snow of the Arctic, which reflects UV light. The foam on top of beer has a softening effect to the taste of beer. This is a trigeminal sensation. This is the same thing that happens when mint feels cold or chili feels hot. This stuff here is called lichen. It's actually algae and fungus living together, and they need each other so much that they can't actually live without each other. You've probably seen it growing all over the place, which isn't a surprise because this stuff covers like 6% of the entire Earth's surface.
People who integrate technology into their bodies are known as biohackers. These citizen scientists use implants to enhance their body's functionality, like Bluetooth, routers, magnets, and programmable microchips like this.
Venus is the only planet in our solar system that spins clockwise, and Uranus spins on its side. Camel humps don't.
Microchips like this.
Venus is the only planet in our solar system that spins clockwise, and Uranus spins on its side. Camel humps don't store water. They store fat for a portable source of food when it's scarce. Mercury travels around the sun in 88 Earth days, but it rotates so slowly that its sunrise to sunset period lasts 176 Earth days, so its day is longer than its year. Siberian tigers can grow to half the length of a London bus. In the sea between Australia and New Zealand, there is an island that is taller than it is wide. It's called Bull's Pyramid, and it only measures 300 meters across, but peaks at 562 meters in elevation. The world's oldest living rose is over 1,000 years old, planted in Germany in 1815. Three-toed sloths spend 20 hours sleeping each day, but koalas sleep even more, racking up 22 hours every day. Dolphins, on the other hand, can't actually sleep. They have to consciously control their breathing. It's not automatic. So if they went to sleep like us, they'd stop breathing and eventually they'd suffocate. So to get around this, they sleep with one side of their brain at a time. Onomatophobia is the name given to the fear of names. Baby elephants suck their trunks for comfort. Emus are the only birds that have calf muscles, and they also can't walk backwards, but we don't know why. Hawaii moves 7.5 centimeters closer to Alaska each year due to the Pacific tectonic plate slowly drifting northwest towards the North American tectonic plate, and that's about the same speed as how fast our fingernails grow. This is the elephant nosefish. It looks weird. Christmas tree worms have crazy tree-like structures extending from their bodies that catch tiny plants and animals. Flamingos aren't pink, they're naturally white, but it's their diet of brine shrimp and algae that turns them pink. A tiger's skin is striped just like its fur. Butterflies drink turtle tears in the Amazon. It is impossible to tickle yourself. And lastly, because it's right at the beginning of the new year, you might have made some New Year's resolutions, which you might not be able to keep in a few weeks' time. But only around 25% of people actually manage to stick to their New Year's resolutions after 30 days. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better in a couple of weeks when you inevitably eat that entire family-sized chocolate bar all to yourself. And with that, you have just sat through 15 minutes of science facts that are probably going to be pretty useless to your life. So the question is,
not really. Not really. It was double speed, so.
This was so much fun to make, and I really can't wait.
Wait, no.
We feel like the most satisfying simulated render.
One more! One more! Hopefully, I can get it all done in time. Here. Which one is the winner? Take time to let everybody know.
Nah.
I was really jealous last year because while I was away, these guys got to have a ton of fun making the most satisfying renders. Like when I saw those satisfying renders, I thought, you know what, it's just as satisfying to make them as it is to watch, so I had the end.
I feel like, Sam, it's great to have you on this one. It's going to be awesome. My goal here is to make a render so satisfying it lowers everyone's heart rate, especially your Sam, because I know you got 2 kids and, you know, your sleep just ain't what it used to be.
In my opinion, the 2 things that the last challenge did really well, having them loop is great. You watch it, you don't know where it starts or ends. It's just a perfect, infinitely looping image. The moment you see one of these things cut, you're like, it's like jarring. And back in reality, your heart rate goes through the roof. From here forth, all satisfying render challenges will always loop.
Arriving at
very
watch point Gibraltar.
important. So you're getting that.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Well, I can play some Genji then. I suck at Genji. I really shouldn't be playing Genji.
wait to get into the fight.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I remember being promoted here. It was good for my career. Well, it's high noon summer in the world.
I guess I wasn't having a problem. I thought I was. I don't know what the baby is, but yo, look at that. Oh, nice shot. Almost got the diva.
My ultimate is
I almost have his blade. I've been charging quick. Why would you nano boost?
I require healing. I am here. My ultimate is almost ready.
Peak performance levels.
Yes.
Move up here.
Waga tamashi wa mada moete oru.
Say. I don't understand Japanese. So.
Is that all? Yes. Thank you.
Where does it go?
Saving points.
Walk it off.
Heroes never die.
60 seconds remaining.
I'm on fire. Lucio coming at you.
Honkiを見せてみろ。Thanks.
30 seconds remaining.
What? I didn't hit the Hanzo? Okay. Okay, so now we gotta swap. We're going Kree here. My first blade wasn't bad. Well, my first blade was bad, but my first acquisition of the blade was not bad.
Valkyrie's charging.
Hello.
Man, I keep getting little drops. I'm not sure why. There's a Sonic arrow right there.
I need a doctor. Thank you kindly. I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
I mean, I'm fine with that. That was pretty cool. I didn't do much, but the rest of it was pretty cool. Oh, thanks for just knocking me off the edge, bud. That was just me. Didn't knock me off the edge.
Enemy contact.
Guys, they have a Hanzo. That's the only thing that can really touch me. Maybe a D.Va could eat it. Or Kuchuku IA. I don't know Japanese, so.
Who's got the hot hand?
Moira by your side.
Easy. Thank you.
Oh, I threw it, but it was late, obviously.
30 seconds remaining.
You gotta work on that, eh?
Dude, what is causing my lag? That was calculated.
Score 0-1. Switching sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Interesting. Oh man. That was an intense round. That was actually probably my best Genji gameplay that I've ever had. And I suck with Genji, so you know. That's might be seeing something. Let's see what our tanks do. Boomba. Devin. Dive? I can play Tracer. Well. I can click the icon. Yeah, I'll click the icon. Dude, why am I glitching? What happened to the frames? They just kind of drop every so often. Huh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing.
Yeah, I know there's a Bastion there, so we're gonna go ahead and get behind him.
You're in the danger.
I should probably not go into there. Oh, I disconnected? Dude, Pookie Bear. You can't be like that. Push through the whole game. Oh, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Holy crap.
I could use some healing.
Nice shot.
Well, that just happened.
We have 4 minutes. I'm gonna wait. It's okay. I can't trace her. Whatever. It happens.
I will protect. Group up with me. Right beside you. Huh. I will not waste this opportunity. Cease your resistance. You made a tactical
Play of the game.
What is catching? Like, yeah, why am I experiencing issues here? Is it heating? Well, if it's heating, we can take a short break. So, that sounds like a good idea. Taking a short break.